Hey, I was listening to this song the other day and I thought, hey, how did they do that weird vocal thing? It was actually a song by Black Bear. And I was like, wow, this is really dope. I like how his voice like kind of morphs here, girl. And it kind of like, never mind. Let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is the mix series. I'm going to show you how to format shift your vocals using different types of plugins and how that's done. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so you're working with a vocalist and you're trying to get some cool vocal effects, whether it's, trying to get an exciting part for a pre-chorus, maybe it's a chorus, maybe it's transition effects, things like that for your vocals. I got something that's really cool that I wanted to show you using some different plugins, and I'll show you how to do this with different Little Altar Boy, Auto-Tune. There's a couple others. There's Ovox from Waves. There's a lot of cool plugins now for vocal manipulation. I want to show you the different plugins and how you get this effect. Let me play this snippet here from David Nolf and I. We were having a writing session last night, so don't judge it. It's just in writing.
I got you now, we gotta feel it together. Got you now, don't let us fade into friends. Got you now, don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
All right, so the idea was don't let us fade into friends, right? That was the tagline for the hook. And I wanted it to sound like it was fade into friends, fade into friends, fade into friends, right? Without it sounding like pitched down, because if you pitch things down, sometimes they get really gross and just inaudible and weird, right? So I'm going to show you how I did that. So the first chop here, which is the first vocal, the high vocal, I have Little Altar Boy on, okay? And this is the plugin I'm using for this. You can also use Auto-Tune, EFX, Auto-Tune Pro. You could use Manipulator. I'll show you the different plugins towards the end of the video here, but this is what I was using. Okay, so what you can do here is I usually like the quantize mode, and you can shift the format up and down. You can use drive, and you can also mix it in. You could use pitch as well, but I find that the pitch just doesn't really sound very cool on Little Altar Boy. I would rather do like an offline process for pitching, maybe through Melodyne, something else, and then bring it back in and mess with the format. But this is a really fun and easy way to do things while you're trying to write. So let me show you what this high one is doing first, and then I'll exaggerate it to show you what the effect is.
Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us.
So it's that high part there. Now let's bring this mix knob way up and show you what it's doing with the formats.
Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade.
Okay, so now you can mess with the format, which is the length of the throat, right? So you can make him sound like a chipmunk almost, or you can make him sound like he's got a larger throat, which would be pitching the format down, right? So here's going a little more exaggerated on the format up.
Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
Hey, David, I made a record for you. You sound like a weird Barbie thing. So that's why you use just a little bit of that in the mix knob. Now let's go to the middle one, because I wanted this one to sound more normal. Here, I'm just doing a little bit of format pitching down and the mix knob's up a little higher. So let's listen to this.
Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
Right, so that's very, very subtle. And then let's go to the lowest one, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. And of course, I could just bounce these offline processing because they are kind of like effects, right? On this one, I'm formatting down even more, and I'm pretty judicious with the mix knob. So let's just fully mix this in and turn the format down, and I'll show you what that sounds like.
Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
Very, very cool effect. Easy way to throw something together for like EDM chops to make them sound different and to mess around with different sounds. So that's kind of what I would do. And you can actually automate this mix knob. So say you wanted to do this on just one vocal pass. I think that's kind of how Black Bear does it. and other artists, EDM artists, but you just basically take this mix knob and you can automate it. So just hit A in Logic. Depending on your DAW, you just go to your automation window, and then you can go to little altar boy and you can go to the mix knob. Now here I could just literally draw in how I want that to mix in. So I could go from here to like maybe the middle, and we go like 100% by the middle or something like that, right? So we'll go like bam, right? Now check this out. It'll kind of like start to format shift within the middle of the phrase.
You know, don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. You know, don't let us fade into friends.
And of course, you could do it on just certain words, which would be really cool, right? I'm trying to show you guys some different ways to spice up your mixes and your production a little bit, because I'm just hearing a lot of boring shit out there nowadays. Like, people aren't doing shit with their vocal effects and stuff. And you guys, if you're not a really well-known artist, you got to do stuff that's exciting. I'll be real. Like, people don't know your voice. They don't know your voice like they know Drake's voice and stuff. You got to kind of mess with it and find your own style. So this is a good way to do it, is use these different techniques. So let's say you wanted to just do the friends line right there, right? So you can literally have like 0. You could even automate this on and on. On and off, but I don't like automating plugins on and off, because a lot of the times you get an audible click, you know, oh, it's on. So I'm going to do this, and we'll just do like the back phrase. Check this out.
Don't let us fade into friends.
Right? It's kind of cool. Like, it's like fade into friends. So really fun stuff. I think that's a really cool plugin for it. So the second plugin I want to show you is called Manipulator, and it's from Infected Mushroom. I'm just showing you these different ways to do the same thing. But with this plugin, you get some other stuff as well, and this can get really crazy, right? Like, you got pitch, you got harmonics, you got alternator, octave drops, all that stuff, FM, right? Frequency modulation, you got a ratio, and then you got the format right here. So all I would do is mess with the format and bring that down, and let's see how this sounds compared.
You know, don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
Right, so you can see it kind of does the same thing. And then there's also presets in here and stuff that you can mess around with. This thing can get really, really crazy, but it's something that if you don't want to go spend a bunch of money on the Sound Toys stuff, I think this one's pretty affordable. It's by Polyverse, and you can pick this up for a pretty good deal. And I also like the glide here. Like, you can actually glide it, so, you know, you can go, yeah, like it can bend. So if you automate glide with format, you know, you can do some really cool effects here. And then you can also do octave and, you know, harmonics and all this stuff. I think a little bit of this harmonics goes a long way. It's kind of like the drive on the Sound Toys vibe. So let's try that. Like, just go a little bit of format and a little bit of drive.
Let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
All right, just gives it a little bit of that texture, which is really cool. So that's my second one that you can use for this. And now, of course, the classic pitch manipulator vibe would be autotune. Format first, and then throat. So when you turn on format, sorry, I'm like fumbling around, format, then you can mess around with the throat. So I'll show you what that sounds like. And then you can also just not tune and only do format, but I find that you kind of have to do both together to really make this thing freak nicely. All right, check it out.
You know, don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
So it sounds a little funky. It's just different, right? Like, different textures, different vibes for different plugins. But I'll show you just kind of mess around with this format and the throat here, and you can get some cool vibes.
Fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends. Fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
So that's kind of a cool vibe there. You can also transpose this a whole octave down, and it sounds pretty good in autotune.
Fade into friends. Don't let us fade into friends.
Now the power comes in with transposing and doing the format shifting. So if you go down, you want the throat to maybe come up, right? So that you can actually understand what he's saying. And if you go really far up, you want the throat to go back down so he doesn't sound like a little chipmunk, right? So for example, if I pitched it way up and I take the throat down, check it out.
Fade into friends.
You know, it gets funky, but just showing you some different tools to do this format shifting thing. I thought it was a cool effect, and I think it's something that you should do, you know, maybe on backgrounds, maybe on doubles, maybe for an effect to, you know, like one idea I find they use it in pop records, like they used this kind of idea in a lot of Black Bear records. He's done it on a ton of stuff. Dance records, EDM chops, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys got something out of this, hopefully you can go produce some cool vocals, do some cool vocal stuff with this idea. And if you did, drop some love on the video, share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Mix Series, and I'm out of here. Peace.